Hey, what's going on, guys? The Master Grade Jesta. It's not a new release by any means. This has obviously been out for a little while. This kit released originally in 2013. I have reviewed here on the channel the Premium Bandai Jesta Cannon Master Grade model kit before, but never actually built up the regular Jesta. So I'm going to take this opportunity to build it up, share with you guys my thoughts on the kit, and for any of you out there who still have not yet built this kit for yourself like me, or if you've been wondering about this kit, hopefully this video helps you out. It's one of those kits that I think a lot of people consider as like one of the best in the MG line, and I know it's definitely one that looks absolutely fantastic right out of the box. So if you guys have not ever built a Jesta, I would definitely recommend it. Like I said, I really enjoyed building the Jesta Cannon, but looking forward to checking out just the regular original version here as well for today's video. Let's go ahead and get into it. And speaking of the Jesta Cannon, you can see one there in the background right here on the box art, but super cool image here of the Jesta. You can see another one flying there on the background on the base jabber, but gotta love the explosion and lighting effects and everything here of that, the glowing visor on the head. It just looks really cool. And speaking of glowing on the head, this is one of those kits that you can actually put an LED unit into to make the head glow as well. I don't think that I have one of those LED units on hand to try that out though, unfortunately. Even though this isn't like this smaller style MG box, it is going to be quite thick. It is pretty deep here, and if we go onto this side, we can see some more details about the kit showing the rifle, kind of how that can be stored on the back skirt, details about the frame in the arms and the legs, how the kit is going to look front and back when it's all built and painted up. Some other gimmicks of the kit here, including some different points of articulation, weapon gimmicks and everything, the figure in the cockpit, and then around on the other side you can see it in a couple of action poses here, showing off some of the fantastic articulation that we have with this kit here, which does look really, really nice as well. So that all looks really cool. Here's how I was saying how you can put one of these LED units into the head to recreate the effect of the glowing visor and head camera. Typically, I personally find that these don't really work all that well, but if you did want to do that, you can use that. And like I said, I'll see if I have one on hand to demonstrate that here in the video. But let's go ahead and pop the top and we'll check out the runners here just a second. Do want to also see the stickers we have included in there as well, which looks like we do have some of those. And our instruction manual is going to have the same artwork from the front of the box. On the back side here, nice big sample images of the kit front and back, and then a couple of stills from the anime there as well. If we go to the center pages here, this has the Laplace memory, a little bit about kind of the story, including the Jestas there in 0096. That's all in Japanese. We've got our painting guide here, painting guide for the pilot figure, the 1-point technique about panel lining the kit over there, and then over here again some more information about the mechanisms, the weapons, and gimmicks. They're all in Japanese, and then kind of some other kits that are available, of course, in the Master Grade lineup, the Sunanju, the Unicorn, and the Banshee there as well. If we go back to the front pages over here, we've got a little bit more about the story of UC or Unicorn right there, the mobile suit history going from the Jagan to the Stark Jagan to the Equus type Jagan to the Jesta and the Jesta Cannon over there. Some more background info here about the Jesta, a couple more images there. We have the parts and spec over here telling us about what all the sections of the Jesta are, kind of the naming for everything. You can see a lot of katakana there. And then more about the mechanism and the TriStar unit there, which are the pilots for the Jesta series. So that's pretty cool. After that, we've got our parts list, and most everything else in here is just going to be kind of our basic construction for Master Grades. It is the type, it looks like that it's going to give us which runners are used for each section, which I do always find this part of the manual to be quite convenient. Just kind of helps to kind of speed along and makes the construction process just a bit more efficient for me. But I don't know how you guys feel about that. I think it's helpful. Once we get to the very end, here's a little bit just kind of about how to use the weapons, and then on the last page there is our decal guide where the seals are going to be placed around on the kit, because we are going to have a few different types of stickers and markings. Looks like we do have one green foil sticker here for one of the camera bits. We've got some dry transfer decals here in white for those of you guys who like dry transfer decals. I know some people do. I don't particularly. I prefer water slides, but here we do also have some regular just marking stickers here, which gives you the option of some different numbers there, Londo Bell markings, Anaheim Electronics, and TriStar markings, and then some more just kind of regular caution markings there in white. So you've got a lot of different sticker options you can place on there if you want to add some detail. But let's get into the runners here, starting off with our polycaps. We do have a fair amount of these here on PC 130 there in gray. We've also got runner SB1 for our standard 1/100 scale clear pink beam saber effect parts there. And then runner MP1 for our injection molded, fully articulated manipulator hand parts here. So that's pretty cool. The A runner is going to be in 4 colors, a couple of parts down there in yellow, a couple of parts in white, mostly in this dark navy color, and then a little bit over here in like a different tone of dark navy, kind of a more richer blue tone of dark navy, whereas the rest is kind of a bit more desaturated. And that desaturated dark blue is what we're gonna have here for all the parts on runner B. More parts for like the torso and the skirt and shield parts. And then here on runner C, some more parts in a kind of more medium intermediate blue kind of color there. More gray blue kind of color. Runner D then is getting into parts for the inner frame and some of the parts for like in the back side of the shield. And you can see all this here is gonna be in gray polystyrene plastic, which is nice. And that's gonna continue here on to runner C. We've got some more mechanical parts, detailed parts, things like that. Obviously our parts for the weapon is on here as well. And then runners F and F2 gonna be some more gray internal frame parts here. So the Jesta doesn't have like the most complex inner frame and just in terms of like the number of parts, but it does have a lot of nice detail on there. Runner G we have 2 of for some more parts in the dark blue color like we saw for the majority of the A runner. Runners H1 and H2, some more gray parts here for the inner frame. And then lastly, runners I1 and I2, some clear parts here. Runner I1 in plain clear, runner I2 in a clear orange. And that's it for all the runners. Let's go ahead and check out the kit. Alright guys, here it is all built up, and it was really fun to build this kit again. I think it holds up extremely well now being over a decade old. I mean, it's not that old of a kit, but it was really fun. It's definitely larger than I remember too. I just forgot the fact that it's quite a large mobile suit, but overall I just think the construction and the proportions of this one just look really, really nice when it's all built up. So it's definitely a great looking kit. Doesn't have like a ton of surface detail on there, but it has a fair amount. I think just like kind of an average amount for a Master Grade kit. You got some nice details here and there, but then you do have some nice open areas where you could add more details if you wanted to, or just add some decals to the design as well. But overall, I think just like really nicely balanced kit. The only thing that I really don't like about this kit is gotta be just those articulated hands. Just really not a fan of how delicate you have to be with those articulated hands. So let's go ahead and check out the accessories here. And just to help illustrate the size of this, here it is compared with the Shinanju Stein, which is a really tall mobile suit. And so you can see, I mean, the Jesta is still not gonna be as tall as the Shinanju Stein here, but still gonna be a pretty tall guy. And as for our accessories, we basically have like the standard beam rifle, beam saber, and shield combination, but they're all done in a little bit different way. On the kit here, as it is, you do have these grenades like here in the side skirt, and this part is able to open up like that, but the grenades are just molded together as one piece. It's not like you can take one out. You would have to cut it and modify that part, which would be a really simple modification to make, but if you wanted to actually utilize those, you would have to do some modification. So for our beam saber, it's a little bit different in that it's stored here on the back of the arm. We have to flip out these parts here to pop out that beam saber handle, and it can flip forward to there and then be pulled out of the back of the arm. You'll notice this does have that tab in the handle there to be able to plug into the hand for a nice solid grip. And then we've got our clear pink beam saber effect part that will be used with the beam saber there. Very simple, but it's a little bit different and a little bit interesting just in the way that this is stored here on the back of the arm. That's kind of unique. As for our beam rifle here, this is unique just simply in the design of it looking so kind of like militaristic. Here we have that clear part there for the scope at the top, kind of clear orange. And then this one as well also has the tab and the handle, which will plug into the hand for a nice solid grip on that. This bar here can be removed, the magazine. So we've got one of those, which is in the rifle there at the moment. And then around here on the back of the arm, we've got 3 more. So you have 4 in total, and these are removable from there. Kind of a little bit of a trick to actually pop them out of there. But you can remove those separately if you wanted to have this like posed in a way that it looked like he was like reloading the beam rifle or something like that. You can do that. But yeah, it's just a really cool design here for the beam rifle. I really like the look of this one. I even like the Jesta Cannon one even a bit more, just because it's a bit more kind of bulky with, I think it has a grenade launcher on it if I remember correctly. But this secondary handle here at the front can also move forward and back. You can utilize that. It does turn to the side here too if you need, so you can move that around basically anywhere where you might want that to be positioned. And this can also store on the back skirt by folding that up, and if we go around here onto the back, this part here at the back of the hips will fold down there like that, and the rifle can be stored right here on the back skirt for when not in use, so that's pretty cool. And then lastly, for the shield, another really unique aspect of this kit, as it's not attached onto the forearm as usual. Now you do have this handle here which will fold out, which you can use with the hand, but you're probably not really going to too often use that. You can see we do also have these missile parts in there, and then the actual separated yellow part there for the EFSF kind of marking on the shield. So pretty cool how that's just like an actual separate yellow part in there. But this is going to attach via this mechanical arm, which has a bunch of different points of articulation here. For this, you have different spots where this can bend and turn and move every which way, and this is going to attach right here onto the side of the backpack, and that can be just kind of folded up and stored there kind of behind the arm for when not in use, or on that mechanical arm it can extend out and be moved more towards the front. So really cool. Again, just with these accessories you just have really unique kind of twists on your standard accessories for a mobile suit. Lastly then, you are going to have some old standards here as well, like an action base adapter and a 1/100 scale standing pilot figure included there as well. And the seated pilot figure is inside the cockpit here. You can open this up. Top part will pull out, extend upwards like that. This bottom part will extend out to the front like that. So really cool opening cockpit hatch there for the cockpit. And the seated pilot figure is seated inside there. It's going to be kind of hard to see there in that dark hole, but really quite a nice cockpit opening hatch there. I like it a lot. And as for the gimmick of plugging in the LED into it, here's where that would plug in. And it is a clear part that will allow the light to feed up into the head there. Unfortunately, I don't have a LED unit that I can use to demonstrate that here at the moment, but that's just going to plug in there. Super simple to install that if you wanted to install it later on. If you don't have one, like at the time of building the kit and you wanted to put it in later, super simple to do there. As you can see, just pull off that part, basically just pull off the backpack, and it'll just remove this entire like collar section and head, and that's where the LED unit will fit up into there. As for that one little foil sticker that we had, that little green foil sticker goes for that little camera here on the side of the head, but the main camera above the visor is another clear orange part, and light should be able to come through there as well. That clear orange part also feeds around here to the back of the head. You can see a little bit of that right here at the back. And otherwise, as far as just like the articulation goes, we have some really nice articulation with this, with it being a little bit limited in terms of like an ab crunch here in the center section, but the shoulders will have a nice range forward, back, and then that shoulder armor can come up and down there. In the elbows, you have a nice double joint there. The hips have a nice range of articulation with a little bit of rotation there at the top. You can bring those all the way out to the side like that. With our knee joint, once again, we also have a double joint here. You can get a nice full extension of that knee joint. And then down here at the ankle, you have like a nice double joint, which will allow for a really good range of movement at the ankle there. You can bring that all the way forward, back like that. The toe will bend up a little bit, but not really point down. The only thing is that with that double joint, this is kind of the only part where it does feel like a little wobbly on the kit, which the ankles is not a place where you want to have any kind of wobble in the kit, just because it's going to make standing poses feel a little bit suspect. That said, I mean, with those large feet, it should be able to stand just fine on its own. You have this really cool yellow separated part there for the V in the crotch there as well, which is nice. But yeah, really my only main gripe with this kit is just going to be these fully articulated hands, just because they're so fragile and you just tend to pop out fingers and parts really easily on those, just trying to move them around. I mean, even just trying to remove the parts from the runners and just get them just kind of closed up into just like a closed fist pose like this. I popped a couple of fingers out, and once they're popped out of the ball joints, you can always put them back in like this, but once they've popped out once, they're just going to be weaker and more prone to falling out again more in the future. So really not a fan of these fully articulated hands just because of their fragility. For me, the trade-off of being able to do any kind of pose that you want with the hands is not really worth that for me. I would just prefer to just have some nice solid fixed posed hands that will look good and still be nicely detailed. You know, I will be limited to, you know, fewer posing options, but still I would much rather have that than have to worry about, you know, like trying to glue those hands. And the other annoying thing about the fully articulated hands is the mold lines on them, because you have mold lines just all over all the fingers, and so they're just like, if you really wanted to have like a nice clean build, especially if you're planning on painting, it's just like a lot of sanding on those really small delicate parts, and it's just kind of a pain. So I'm not a fan, but anyway, otherwise definitely a fan of this kit just overall, and those hands are an easy part to swap out for some different option part hands or custom hands or something, so not too big of a deal at the end of the day. Overall, really cool build. Love the design of the Jesta. The color scheme has never really been like quite my favorite. I find the color scheme to be a little bit boring. Personally, I definitely would prefer this, and I think in maybe some different colors. But let me know what you guys think. Obviously, this is not a new kit. It's been out for a long time, and a lot of you guys have probably built it. I also really enjoy the HGUC version of the Jesta as well. If you you guys have not checked that out, I would recommend that one. Also, I don't think that it's been reprinted in a while, though, unfortunately. I think that might be a problem. But if you guys have never built any version of the Jesta, I would definitely recommend it, whether it be the HG or the MG. The MG, obviously going to be much more available, as far as I know, at the moment at least, and really decently priced too for what you get. I mean, the accessories are going to be pretty standard, like I said, just beam rifle, beam saber, shield, but they're all done with in a little bit different way that I think makes them a lot of fun, very interesting for this kit. And as I said before, it's a good size too. It's definitely going to be a little bit taller than your standard MG, especially with it having those nice big long Kotoki style legs on there. The other great thing about this is if you get an action base for it, which I would definitely recommend, is that you're opened up to a lot of really great posing options here with this up on an action base. Just looks so good, so definitely worth checking out. Even though it is now getting up there in age, I think it holds up incredibly well. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below, and if you guys want to check out this kit for yourself, you can check it out at USA Gundam store. The link will be in the video description below. We've got all sorts of other Gunpla there, master grades, high grades, and all that other good stuff, so check that out. And as always, guys, thanks so much for all your support, leaving a like, making sure that you're subscribed. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Till next time, hope you all are having a great day. See you guys later. Bye bye.